Okay, gang, so here we have these two awesome action figures. Oh my god, look at this. We finally have ourselves an updated Extremis Iron Man. He's looks like he's the right build, right scale. I mean, for to fit in with the other characters and Cap and Thor. It also fits in nicely with all of the recent armors that have come out too. So really cool. And then obviously we have Iron Spider-Man here. This is also an extremely cool figurine, and yeah, I think this just makes for a great little double unboxing. This is I like to think of it as kind of like a Marvel team up, for unboxing. So that's kind of what we do here on the Windmiller channel. But yeah, this one, he's got the great bod, right? That's from I guess it's based off of the newer Spider-Man kind of body mold, so we already know that's really good. I've heard some complaints about the tentacles, but we're gonna see what that's like once we get it in hand. But yeah, I think we're gonna just first start out with Extremis Iron Man here. So I've already taken the tape off here. We're gonna just pop this off, nice and easy. At the back here, we don't get little flavor text. That's a little disappointing, eh? Because usually we get a little flavor text. They're getting less and less on these boxes here. This is kind of lame, right? But I mean, it was a cool image of him, and if you can actually get in that pose, that's pretty great. And then we get some nice. That's art from the actual comic book. That's that first run. Very cool. Okay. Cool. And so now we have all his little accessories here in this extra bag. We're gonna pull them out of this cool little box thing. I don't know. I wonder if I could turn this into some kind of set piece. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Let's stick that back there. Cool. So we're gonna pull out old Extremis Iron Man. Oh, that was the painful part, all right. I'm sure you guys didn't hear a word I just said. That's okay. But here we have the first impressions. All right, nice. This guy's pretty smooth. Holy shit, this thing is amazing. Instantly he's in some awesome posing. Just very dynamic, very sharp. Oh wow, this is such a crazy. I can't believe this is in hand. It's almost like getting starstruck for some reason. Seeing this, because the thing is this is also what the armor from the movies is based off of. It's kind of this look too. Let's pose him around here and we'll get right back in. Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing look here. I think even the gold I kind of wish popped just a little bit more, and I know it is more of a flatter color. I think it is more accurate to the way the coloring was in the comic itself anyways. I think that's kind of part of the point, but man, check out those calves. Those things are sharp as hell. That is crazy. I mean, that's where they keep extra jets and stuff, right? So that's probably why there's a bit of bulk there. You can open up and shoot out some rockets or something. It's nice that these here are rotating like that. I can't believe it took them this long to figure this out. To be honest, this is something that they kind of rediscovered for this figure, because I think the original release of the Extremis armor had this rotating, but then you've got the newer ones and they don't, or you've got this particular one here and they just stuck it on there, and it's why didn't they put a rotation on it like this? I wonder. But anyways, we'll get to more comparisons in a sec here. Damn. But he does get a pretty great range of motion. I mean, look how far back his leg can go. That's awesome. Fists, nice. You can raise them up, which is good. But you can also probably... well, I'm excited to see the accessories. We better pull those out and see if we can get some shooting poses here. But yeah, and the head does move up quite well too, so you're going to get some great flying poses with this guy. Man, he's just so iconic. I just have so many comics with him in this armor, so it's just yeah, it's just really cool to see it in person, in hand. Yeah, if you're gonna give Iron Man any accessories, it might as well be some repulsor blasts. This is really cool, and they can also double as the jets on the feet too. So I quite like that. I mean, yeah, stick those right in. Why not? Let's try it out. Yeah, that works too. That looks pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, you know, you can make most collectors happy as long as you pair these figures with you know, two pairs of hands, like so. I mean, that's you're gonna get most people fairly satisfied, and you add in an effect. That's also, you know, it's a little cherry there. The one thing, you know, what really though would make it amazing is if they just always came with like some kind of extra head sculpt. Like, would have been cool to get, you know, a Tony head sculpt along with this one, or one with like maybe the face plate lifted up. Like, that would have been really cool. And so it's just yeah, it's too bad they didn't take the time to just do that. But I mean, I guarantee you they'll probably re-release this figure 100 times before they're done with this mold now. So, and yeah, I can definitely expect us to get like an Iron Patriot on this as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool to think about. And here's the money shot. This is so sick. So this is pretty much yeah, this is all my Iron Man armors. So having them all lined up like this is just kind of a epic moment to see these, because I've been kind of wanting to complete this sort of set for some time, where you kind of have all these different eras of his armor, along with a couple extra like auxiliary ones, like with War Machine armor and the stealth armor and stuff. There is probably 4 more armors, I guess 5. Oh, there's 5 more armors that I'm kind of looking to get to kind of basically counter this amazing little set here. And that would be, first, they just announced that gray, that first appearance one, which is like an incredible looking armor. Obviously a must-have, because you know, for any you know, self-respecting Iron Man Armory collection, you got to have that first appearance armor, which he, you know, he has to don every now and again when he's got to go low tech for something. Very, very cool. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna grab that one. And oh yeah, the Hulkbuster, gotta get a Hulkbuster. What I really kind of like about the different armors that he had was like they were all kind of utility for something. So that's kind of the theme I want to keep for this armory, is like, you know, obviously this is for stealth missions, you know, this is for like high octane military shit, and then this here is kind of more like shield and sturdier for like maybe space flight. And then you have his all-purpose one here, which is like a little bit of a lower grade than this, with like less toys. And then you have this one that connects with everything. The ones I'd want, and these are kind of ideas for armors in a way, like, I don't know, I was looking for one that was like a magma armor, but they never really done anything like that, at least not that I could find. Or lava, like environment kind of armor, like one that's just built for that. I think that would be kind of a cool concept. There's already an aquatic armor, so I'd like them to kind of come out with that. There's already a design for that from the comics. And then an Arctic armor as well. That's one that they actually did create as well. So my kind of idea is like you have all 3 extreme environments, and he has an armor build for it. And yeah, I think that would pretty much complete this armory. You know, we'll see if I ever get to those ones. If not, perfectly satisfied with just this one right here. This is a great mix of characters or utility armors for him to use. And of course, this one here is kind of like his newest one. So basically, it has a lot of the best parts of these other suits all into like this tech. So this is kind of his future suit, right? I know there's the bleeding edge and all those ones, but those figures are kind of a little bit outdated now too. And I'd also say that I mean, the whole idea of him like being cybernetically like connected to these armors, I think he starts to steer away from that, because he knows it's kind of like you know, a bad pathway, you know. And I think us as humanity, we kind of like have to kind of you know, take that warning from Stark himself, you know, where it's like, yeah, you know, you might end up like fusing with technology, and it might be like a terrible situation. Yeah, and then there's this team up here. This Captain America to me is the ultimate Captain America, because there's so many comics with him in this particular costume. It's just the most iconic look for him, and I just feel like they nailed it with this figure, and having that extra head sculpt is just, I mean, that was the cherry on top, right? So this, you know, this Cap matching up with this Extremis Iron Man, definitely gives me Civil War vibes, right? Like this is pretty much exactly the looks that they had for that, and it's just kind of like, it's cool that we're getting that era again. It seemed like there's a lot of figures coming out from like the 90s eras and stuff, which I kind of like that era too, but it's nice to see some newer stuff come out that was from like more 2000s, which is what I was kind of reading more as a kid. Of course, like I'll still always like love the classic like 70s era. That's probably just because like I read my dad's comics from that era, so like that's always gonna have a special place in my heart too. And I'll be collecting those figures, of course, and trying to complete my like giant size X-Men and all those kind of things. So yeah, so here we have the new Avengers assembled. This looks really, really cool. They all kind of definitely match well. Definitely still missing Luke Cage. Desperately need either the classic Luke Cage that they just announced or some new comic-based modern Luke Cage. But yeah, definitely missing him in this setup here. Of course, an astonishing Wolverine 2 is hopefully on the way. We just got astonishing Cyclops and Emma Frost, so I'm thinking that they're not too far away from that. But you know what, Wolverine here in the white tank is actually a perfect fit for this too, because I know he kind of rocked this his sort of civilian clothes for a lot of adventures, especially a lot of video games at the time. You know, during these runs like Marvel Nemesis, he was in the T. Ultimate Alliance. So I mean, and obviously the movies, he's mostly in it, so kind of works actually. And of course, this Captain America is timeless. You know, this costume is, it's so great how they always bring it back, so you can always use the same cap for so many different teams. It's just, when they've got that iconic costume, it's just, yeah, you want to see it come back. And then obviously, this new Iron Man figure is just something that we've needed for a long time. Like, definitely takes a lot of there's a lot of stories, and we got a pretty good mileage out of this costume or this suit as well. Many stories were told over this period of time, so yeah, it's pretty cool to have this in hand. And same goes for this Spider-Man. Obviously the red and blue is timeless, especially with the smaller eyes on the costume. We saw that a lot at this time as well. So yeah, this perfect fit for this Spider-Man. He's so versatile, and of course Sentry. I mean, looking at Mighty Avengers, his costume's a little bit different. He's got kind of like these sort of emo glove hands, opposed to these open-fisted hands here, where it kind of goes over his thumb or whatnot, and just sort of black mixed in. But you know what? I think this is actually a more definitive version of his costume, and I think this actually looks a lot better too. Anyways. And we're going to be getting that new Spider-Woman Skrull 2-pack, with the Super Skrull. That's pretty cool coming out. I'm kind of excited about it at the same time. Like, I already have that figure, so, I'm paying, what is it, $80-90 Canadian for a 2-pack with a figure that you've already got. Like, it's kind of, like, lame, so I'm on the fence about it, especially because I really want the classic Super Skrull, the one with the Fantastic Four powers, but obviously that one's like really, really difficult to come across now. You guys know I got screwed over by Amazon at the very beginning of the release of that, and so I'm just if you've been listening for a while, so man, I would love for them to come out with just like a vintage wave Super Skrull, and just pack them in with like double thing arms with multiple firearms, double maybe make them like a deluxe figure even. That would be even better. Alrighty then, so we're gonna open up the Iron Spider next. Very excited about this one. I had way back in the day, probably like elementary school, I had the original, I guess it was like Spider-Man Classic Series Iron Spider. A decent figure, just lacked along a lot of the articulation. It wasn't as posable, but this one, it's obviously based off of our new Spider-Man mold, so we're gonna be hopefully getting a decent, flexibility with this figure, and I got a good feeling about it. The box itself, obviously we don't know what it looks like yet because they don't have the plastic on it right now, but apparently it's coming back, so that's going to be cool for you mint in box collectors. I'm sure you're excited. But this is a great piece of art here on the side. Yeah, really great looking piece of art on the side here. I think this is pulled straight from a comic book. I think I might even have the issue that he shows up looking like this. So that's really cool. I got to pull that out. And then yeah, here on the back, you know, obviously we have, I guess, what is that? I think that might be like a computer generated image of the figure. I don't know if that's actually it posed. I don't really know how it works, but you know, once again, they got rid of the flavor text, which I don't know what's up with that. Are they just cutting corners? I mean, trying to save a buck. You know, they can't pay a little writer to do a quick, you know, little read up on him. I wonder what's up with that, you know. But I guess if the figures are a little cheaper and if they're not paying for that kind of stuff, I don't care if the box is a little bit shittier. You know, I just want my figure to be as high quality as possible. So if they got to cut that kind of like those little extra bits, I guess I can take that, you know. But it is a little bit of a sign of the times, you know. And then over here we have another side image of him. Obviously, I just removed the tape preemptively to make it easier to unbox here for us for the video. But yeah, I tore this off. So if you were a mint unbox collector, I'm sure you're cringing right now. But screw that. We're just gonna open this bad boy up now. I'm tired of just staring at the box. I've been staring at the box for weeks, months even actually. You know, I spent like $50 on this figure. Can you believe that? They charge $50 here in Canada for, oh, I didn't bother taking the tape off the bottom. $50 for this guy, and like, what the hell? You know, there's just other Marvel Legends that are exactly the same amount of accessories and such, but you're paying $35 for them. Here, he cranks it up to $50. It's insane. Even that first appearance Spider-Man, I've seen that go for $60 at some stores. It's crazy. Absolutely madness. That's why I think we're on the we're on the tipping point for Marvel Legends. You know, this is the best figures we're gonna get of all time, and I think it's only gonna get worse from here. People are gonna stop buying because they can't afford it. Here we go. That looks cool. Oh, these are the legs. They come in a separate piece. That's kind of cool. Here's the extra hands, the flip hands. We don't need that. Never need that. Cool image that they have, and of course, yeah, I didn't mention this, but on the top here we got the 60th anniversary of him, of the Spider-Man. So yeah, I quite like that, and it's still a great box, just missing that flavor text, you know. So I'll stick that over here in the corner, and we'll get to the actual figure himself. He's stuck in there. We're gonna pull him out. Hopefully he doesn't get killed on his way out. This is the new painful part. Not quite as painful. Yeah, stick that back there. Not as interesting as some of the backings we are used to getting. Here, we'll get him out of this. How do we get him out? Oh, here we go. And out of the bottom of that, he comes out. Whoa, shiny. It's so shiny. I like that. Very, very shiny. This is Iron Man shine. Okay. The head looks... Whoa, a lot of movement in the head. That's a crazy ball joint. You can do some rotating like this. You can look way the hell up, way the hell down. Man, that's great. They did a good job with that. And then we got some butterfly joints here. Blutterfly. He's kind of gummy in a way. There's a gumminess to it, but I actually quite like that because it makes it easier to maneuver. He's not stiff at all. Like right out of the package, like, well, he's firm, but he's not stiff. So that's nice. Ready to go, basically. Oh, and then these are like sculpted on too. The boot thing. That's neat. Okay, that's very Iron Man. Like, even this is sculpted on. Oh, I thought this was all painted, but it's actually, that's very, very cool. And yeah, the spider logo is all sculpted, and so are these gauntlets, all sculpted. That's so great. And they don't hinder the articulation really on the hands. Man, that's so cool. Man, this is so iconic. I just love having it in hand. So it's such a big deal when he like was teaming up with Iron Man, and then the whole Civil War stuff, and he's kind of his protege, and then they took that and sort of adapted it really, really well into the MCU. It makes so much sense, you know, like explaining how you can have such a high-tech costume and all that. Oh, I love it. Okay, yeah, this is great. All right, let's cut and come back, and we'll check out these arms and stuff. And don't mind the train rumbling by. I just live right next to a train track. Yeah, so here we have the tentacle arm things. Quite nice, actually. I think the sculpt is pretty amazing on them. Oh, that's getting loud. And you know what? I'm starting to understand what people's big complaint was about this this particular these arms, because you got to bend here and you got to bend here, and of course this right here for some reason was skipped out on. Why did they put a bend there? That's very, very odd. It looks like it's ready for a bend. I mean, they have the technology, they figured it out. I don't really care too much about this bottom one, but what the hell? Forgot to do that, I guess? I don't know. I guess we'll see how that kind of works out on the figure here, but for the most part, this looks awesome, you know? Maybe it's not necessary. We'll see. Let's stick it on this figure and we'll try it out. Cool. It looks pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I quite like that. I mean, they fit nicely on the back here, obviously, and they don't really get in each other's way, which I think is by design. You know, I'm sure everyone was always wondering, you know, he's doing the spider arms. Like, where's the, you know, why doesn't he have the extra arm here? Well, we can't forget about Spider-Man's 8th leg, you know, down there. But anyways, I digress. You know, it's just like kind of crazy that they didn't add that extra piece of articulation, because I think it is, to some extent, it is gonna affect it. It's definitely affecting how well you can mess around with these. I mean, I don't know. Is it really, like, sure, you can get it really close, you know, like this is kind of an iconic look for these things. You know, they did correct it in the movie. They're giving him the extra arm. You know, it makes sense, of course. But I mean, now he's got the 9 legs, right? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, this looks cool. I'm not going to deny that this doesn't look cool. But a part of me also kind of wishes that it had some, you know, spinning rotation, you know, so that I could get these to properly climb down, you know. Like, it doesn't spin. I don't think it even spins on here. So you're kind of just, this is it. This is what you get. And you better be happy about it, because Hasbro's not going to fucking give a shit about what you think. Just let them take your money and don't fucking complain about it, basically. Enjoy your shiny figure, and we don't care that we cut a few corners with it. You know, you're only paying $50 for it. Fuck you. That's basically it. So yeah, I mean, I think he looks cool. I mean, we'll definitely have some fun with this. Like, imagine, like, he's using the arms, but the bigger arms are like mimicking, well, he's like swinging, so this thing will come in and yeah, this will be some cool stop motion, that's for sure. I don't know, maybe we'll see. I like doing, the thing I want to start trying to do is like doing shorts that are just like very, very short adaptations of like moments in comics, you know. So maybe something to do with Iron Man fighting Spider-Man. Actually, yeah, I think I can do that. Let's check that out right now.
Regulating our behavior's our only compromise. We can't go unchecked anymore. There's no going back to the old days, Pete. Think about your aunt, your wife. Everyone knows who you are now.
I loved you. I loved your mind. You were everything that I wanted to be.
You disappoint me, Peter.
Not as much as I'm disappointed in myself!
You're under arrest.
Goodbye, Tony.
Cool, and here's a little compare and contrast between our regular classic costume Spidey and the Iron Spider. You know, the build is actually pretty spot on, I think. I mean, the height is perfect. Yeah, I mean, they did it. It just pretty much looks like this guy is in that costume. So, I mean, that's what you want, is you want a consistency amongst these figurines and these characters. And if there's one thing that Hasbro is fucking excellent at, it's their consistency with their scale and their consistency with the use of their characters and costumes. Like, you'll see reuse of the face molds, and so, you know, same with body molds. Like Wolverine is a perfect example. Like, they've used this mold to, in a lot of ways, to at least the shape of the mold, you know. Like, obviously, like, he has butterfly joints in a lot of his other costumes, but they've really got it down pat, you know. I think that's something that I'll always praise Hasbro for is just how well their figures look good together, you know. And that's the best part about collecting like these Marvel Legends, is just they all are seamlessly connected to one another, and you can even some of the older releases to still fit in nicely with newer stuff too, even back from Toy Biz. But yeah, this is great. Like, I think it's still a decent offering. It's just, like I said, I think they cut corners. Of course, here's the next comparison you want to see, is obviously our Extremis Iron Man, contemporary Iron Man, or modern Iron Man, whatever you want to call it. But here he is scaled next to our Iron Spider. And you know, one thing I'll say, and it actually is probably the case, is they did kind of go with the more faded look for his red and gold, where even on this Iron Spider, which they're supposed to be kind of the same era, right, and supposed to be based off of his current design stuff, this is still more of a vibrant gold and a vibrant red compared to that. And when you compare him to even the older releases of these Iron Man figures and their gold, I mean, the Spider-Man does fit better with these other two in a way. Like, the gold and red matches a little bit better on these two than it does with him. And I know it's because the art itself was sort of more of this faded color, and I think that's why they went with that. And it's not it's not a terrible difference, you know. It's very subtle, and I don't mind it too much. But of course, I'm a sucker for like those vibrant colors, you know. That's why I like the 70s era. You know, that's when they were really just, everything was popping, you know. And so when it comes to these figurines, like, I think they look the best when they have like these bright colors and such. Still, I quite like the look of it. And here's those interchangeable hands, the whipping web hands. So glad that it comes with at least one extra pair of hands. You know, some people might say that they cut corners by not giving you the wall crawling hands, but I'll counter that, at least be devil's advocate, and say that with these arms, you know, obviously he'll be using these arms to do a lot of the climbing of walls and such. So maybe he doesn't need the wall crawling hands, just because he'll be crawling up with these spiky arm things. So maybe that's kind of a suitable enough reason that he might not have them. But that's just because I'm trying to, you know, make myself feel better here about the lack of those or the missing accessories, right? Of course, like I said, you know, I'm sure they're doing their best with the amount of budget they have for these things, and people are still buying them. So, I mean, they're getting away with it, right? So, it is what it is. I will say these arms really aren't terrible. Like, it's so cool that you can stand them up like this. And they're sturdy, you know, he's not going to fall. So maybe there's something to be said about there being a lack of articulation there. I mean, maybe he wouldn't be as sturdy like this if that were the case. So, and you can still get some really cool posing out of it. I mean, come on. So maybe I'm being a little too hard on Hasbro. And sure, this is still an amazing figure. Maybe they got to make a little bit of sacrifices, we could call it, so that we can actually get these decent figures. And sure, you don't get all the accessories you want to get, but man, this is still a pretty cool figure, and still happy I managed to pick it up.